I was standing in my backyard with a half-warm coffee when a chainsaw screamed to life, not down the street, not 2 houses over, right behind my fence. 10 minutes later, my protected oak was tipping. My neighbors were yelling, and the president of the HOA was staring at her own collapsing roof like she'd just watched reality slap her in slow motion. And the wild part is, I didn't touch anyone. I just finally stopped playing nice. My name's Jake Miller, and I bought my place in Maplewood Ridge 6 years ago because it was quiet and boring in the best way. Good schools, trimmed lawns, people who wave with one hand while they clutch their mortgage with the other. Before I signed anything, I triple-checked one detail. Like my life depended on it, my property was legally exempt from the Homeowners Association. No dues, no community standards, no strangers measuring my grass like it's a crime scene. Just my house, my yard, and this massive old oak tree in the back that shaded half my roof like a giant umbrella. The city had it documented as a protected retention tree, which basically meant don't mess with it unless you want paperwork to haunt you. To me, it was the best part of the property. To Linda Parker, it was a personal insult planted in soil. Linda moved in 2 years after me, divorced late 40s, always dressed like she had a camera crew following her. Perfect hair, stiff posture, clipboard in her hand like it was fused to her wrist. Within 6 months, she was president of the HOA, and I swear nobody even remembers an election. She just appeared at the top like a bad pop-up ad. After that, the neighborhood changed tone. Letters started showing up over paint shades, porch chairs, kids' scooters, a wreath that was out of season. People stopped chatting when she walked by like her presence drained all the oxygen out of a conversation. And every morning she'd slow walk past my place and glance toward my backyard real deliberate, not at me, at that oak, like it was mocking her. Then one afternoon I get a piece of paper slid into my mailbox, crisp and bold, like it wanted to look official. Violation notice. Immediate action required. Remove hazardous structure within 14 days. Hazardous structure. As if my tree was a collapsing parking garage. I laughed at first out loud, coffee almost coming out my nose. I figured someone made a mistake or Linda's printer had gotten bored. So I ignored it. Which in hindsight was like lighting a match next to gasoline. The second notice came with red highlights and a fake deadline stamped on it like a threat. Then a third. Then she started showing up by the fence line when I was outside, arms folded, staring at my tree like it owed her money. One day she finally spoke, voice sweet but sharp around the edges. You know that tree is a liability, right? It could fall. Someone could get hurt. I smiled and kept my tone even. It's protected under city code. It's been inspected. It's fine. Her eyelid twitched like I'd hit a nerve. I'm the HOA president, Jake. Cool, I said. I'm not in the HOA. That word not landed like a slap. A week later, she dumped 5 violation notices in my mailbox at once, all citing bylaws that literally didn't apply to my address. So I decided to be the adult in the room and do it the clean way. I printed out the city regs, highlighted the important parts, even slapped sticky notes on them like I was grading a paper. I handed the stack to her at the fence. Here. According to the city, this tree can't be removed without permits and inspections. You don't have jurisdiction. She didn't read a single line, just smiled like she already knew the ending. Rules are flexible when safety is involved, she said. And that's when I realized it was never about safety. It was about control. Linda started telling neighbors my property was hurting values, that my oak was a ticking time bomb, that storms could send it crashing into houses. Nobody said a word to my face, but suddenly I felt eyes on me everywhere. Phones came out when I mowed, whispers followed me to the mailbox, and the letters started arriving weekly. Fines, threats, authorized corrective action. I sent certified letters back, polite and boring the way lawyers love. I reminded her my property was exempt, and any entry onto my land without permission was trespassing. Every time I wrote the word authority, I could practically hear her grinding her teeth across the street. Then she got bolder. She'd show up unannounced, taking photos from the fence line, muttering to herself like she was rehearsing a speech. One night she cornered me while I was hauling groceries in. "You're challenging my position," she snapped, voice suddenly stripped of the fake sweetness. "I'm protecting my property," I said, trying to keep my cool. She leaned in and hissed, "If that tree ever falls and hits my house, it's on you. Not us, you." I tried one last time to shut it down with facts. "Linda, it leans away from your place. Engineers checked it. You're safe." She laughed, quick and mean. "Safety is subjective." That's the kind of sentence that tells you someone is past listening. And after months of this, I'll be honest, I got tired in my bones. Not dramatic tired, real tired, the kind where you start calculating the cost of peace in dollars and sleep. I remember standing at my kitchen sink one night, staring into nothing, thinking, maybe I should just pay for trimming just to shut her up. Not because she was right, because I wanted my life back. Then I pictured her face when she won, and something in me hardened like a door locking. So I did the opposite of emotional. I went full paperwork. I called the city, confirmed the tree's protected status, asked what permits were required for removal, asked what happens if someone cuts it anyway. The city arborist didn't mince words. If anyone touches that tree without authorization, it's a serious violation. Document everything. So I documented everything: dates, photos, every letter, every certified receipt, every email. 3 days later, I came home late on a Thursday, brain fried, just wanting quiet. Instead, I saw 2 unfamiliar trucks parked near my back gate, my gate, open. My stomach dropped before my brain caught up. Then the sound hit me. Chainsaws growling, metal clanking, men shouting. I cut across the yard like I was moving through water, and when I reached the fence line, I saw it. Linda Parker in a brand new hard hat, smiling like she was hosting a ribbon cutting. 2 workers were already cutting into my oak, the blade biting deep like it had done this 1,000 times. Linda held her clipboard up like a badge and pointed like she owned the ground. I didn't rush them. I didn't throw a punch, didn't grab a tool, didn't scream threats into the air. I pulled my phone out and called 911 because the best weapon against someone like Linda isn't rage, it's a record. Someone is illegally cutting a protected tree on my property. I told the dispatcher, voice steady, even though my hands were shaking. They're trespassing. I need officers here now. Linda saw the phone and didn't flinch. She just smiled wider. "You're interfering with authorized maintenance," she said loud enough for the workers to hear. "Step aside, Jake. Authorized." That word again, like she could speak it into reality. I turned to the guys with the saws. "Listen," I said, projecting my voice. "This is private property. There are no permits. If you keep cutting, you're committing a crime." One of them slowed and looked at Linda, confusion written all over his face. Linda snapped sharp as a whip. "Keep going." And just like that, the saw roared back to life. The trunk was already scarred, sap running down in slow streaks, and the whole yard smelled like raw wood and bad decisions. Neighbors started showing up, phones out, murmuring, "Is that legal? Did she get permission?" I kept repeating one sentence like a drumbeat. No permits. Protected tree. Private property. Then something shifted. Not cinematic. Just wrong. The ground trembled under my boots, and the oak made this deep groan that didn't sound like snapping. It sounded like stress, finally giving up. One worker stepped back, eyes wide. It's leaning weird." Another shouted, "Wrong way. It's going the wrong way." Linda's smile vanished so fast it was like someone erased it. The men dropped the saws and scrambled, but it was too late to pretend they were in control. The oak started to pivot, slow and heavy, like gravity was making a deliberate choice. And then it came down, not onto my house, not into the empty yard, straight through the edge of Linda's roofline with a crack like thunder splitting a board. Shingles blasted, dust punched into the air, someone screamed, and for a few seconds everything was just chaos and grit and stunned silence. Linda stood frozen, mouth open, clipboard slipping from her hand into the dirt like it finally understood it was worthless. Then she snapped into motion, running forward, yelling orders at people who weren't hers to command. Firefighters arrived fast, then police, then paramedics, and the professionals took over like a switch flipped. They pulled Linda back, told everyone to stay clear, stabilized what they could, and when they brought people out of that house, the street went dead quiet. One kid came out shaken and dusty but alive. Another was carried out strapped to a board awake, pale, not moving much, and the paramedics weren't chatting anymore. No jokes, no small talk. Just focus, just urgency, just the kind of silence that tells you this isn't neighborhood drama now. Linda tried to keep barking like her title mattered, like she could reverse physics with attitude. "I'm the HOA president," she yelled at an officer when they stopped her from crossing the tape. He didn't even look impressed. He just asked her for permits. She had none. The workers admitted they were hired without permits, and they admitted they questioned it, and they admitted Linda told them to continue anyway. And when the police asked me what happened, I handed them a neat folder like it was a gift. Letters, certified mail receipts, photos, city regulations, inspection notes, everything she ignored, now sitting in the hands of people who couldn't be bullied by a clipboard. Linda was removed from her position with the Homeowners Association almost immediately. Charges followed, civil suits followed, and the HOA board scattered like roaches when the lights come on. Insurance denied most of it because illegal activity has a way of ruining every plan, and Linda's house was condemned not long after. I didn't feel triumphant standing in my backyard afterward. I felt hollow, because a tree, a boundary, and one woman's obsession had turned into a disaster that didn't need to happen. And the last time I saw Linda, she didn't look powerful. She looked small, staring at the wreckage, like she couldn't understand that the law, the city, and reality don't care about titles. Boundaries aren't disrespect. They're safety systems, and ignoring them always sends the bill.